What's up everybody, FC here from E-MTB Review, and in this video I'm going to give you a bike industry update for September, late September 2024. This is a crucial time because this is the second half of 2024, our pivotal year of whether we're going to make it, what companies are going to make it or not, after this post-supply chain issues. We've got a bit of news to cover, some very bad news, some loss of an industry icon, legend, some climate, some buying behavior news, and some good news in the bike industry. So tune in and I'll give you a table of contents if you want to jump around. All right, the first piece of bad news, I have some teleprompter here, is the Pros Closet is closing in October, probably early October, maybe October 4 is my indication. And what is the Pros Closet? The Pros Closet is a clearinghouse for used bikes. They buy used bikes, they curate it, they photograph it, they describe it nicely, and then they sell it. They're kind of like that bringatrailer.com, in the car industry, where they're like the middleman. They facilitate the buying and selling of nice cars, curators, so to speak. And in the there's a market for used bikes, and they really filled that niche of getting a trust level up from the buyers and having a place for users to sell their stuff, right, and upgrades, because it's all about getting the next bike, getting the upgrade. So the problem with this company, it started in 2006, is they got about $68 million in funding, 5 rounds of funding, and they've been successful, sold 46,000 bikes in 18 years, and they even bought the Radavist media. They sold it back to John Watson, but a lot of expenses. They're in Boulder, Colorado. They moved to Louisville for a 137,000 square foot of warehouse, office, and retail. And they've had a series of layoffs, 15% in 2022, more in 2023, and they got like a lifeline, $5.5 million in funding in January 2024. But they said today they are closing. It's over. It's too much expenses, too much debt, and not enough upside for anyone to buy them and take them over and keep the brand going, all that infrastructure. So I don't know what's going to happen. This is unfortunate for sure, because there's a lot of employees involved. They've employed over 100 employees during their peak. I don't know how many they have today, and this is bad news. Because they were serving a need for the bike industry. I'm sorry to hear this news, but I'm sure it's not the last one we'll hear in the second half, because the second half is crucial, because now the buying season's over, and will you have enough funds and outlook to survive the winter of discontent of the bike industry. Okay, second piece of news is Rad Power Bikes is going to be sold at Best Buy and online. Wow, I didn't know they didn't sell online. Big mistake. But the fact that they're going to be selling at Best Buy sucks.
Hi, I'm Angie, a Best Buy home expert, and today I'm going to talk about electric bikes, often referred to as e-bikes.
That is not cool, because what do Best Buy people know about selling bikes, right? But they are in big trouble as well. This is a sign of desperation to me, and they're looking because they're very heavily capitalized, this company, and they need to survive, return on investment, and they just can't get new funding easily. So Rad Power Bikes, and man, I deal a lot with this industry, cargo bikes, commuter bikes, all e-bikes. It's the right industry, but there's a lot of competition that's coming. Competition wasn't that good 5 years ago from China, but now they're pretty darn good, and they're all selling bikes under $2,000 and now under $1,000, under $500. So it's hard for a kind of a premium brand to survive. Okay, next piece of news, number 3, is Specialized opens a 587,000 square foot facility and distribution center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Going to employ 120 workers. This is big. So it looks like they're definitely going to survive the storm. I know they've had a hard time with a lot of sales, a lot of inventory issues, but they're moving on forward, looking on forward into the future. That is a big facility in the middle of the country. Liken it to like Denver Airport, because it's kind of center where they can ship everywhere. All right. Fourth piece of news is Trek is selling B-Cycle to Bicycle Transit System. B-Cycle operates bike systems, sharing bike systems in major cities, LA, Philadelphia, Las Vegas. It is the future, and Trek had their foot in the door to participate and benefit from that. But you know, they're having a hard time. Trek is. They have too many businesses, too many SKUs, and they're whittling down to their core strength. So they're selling off these assets where they're not immediately profitable and not core to the business. So on a side note, the Trek e-bikes not doing so hot. 5-7 years ago, I thought they were the leader, having Bosch systems, having a great lead in e-bikes. But man, they just have not been doing enough to progress in this category. But they've done a lot on the advocacy front and whatnot. But really, you gotta be aggressive. Gotta be aggressive. Release every year, every 2 years. The latest, hottest e-bikes. It's a very hot category. Your future depends on it. The bankruptcy court approves Giant's group of Stages. Stages Cycling has been pretty much defunct, shut its doors. Another Boulder, Colorado. They do power meters and trainers, and they owe Giant a whole lot of money. And they pretty much fired everyone, and they got some of the employees back, and they're gonna bring back this product, I'm sure. There's a lot of built product I heard that's already just needs to be sold. So this is one way for built by Giant to recoup some of its money is to continue selling the product and supporting the existing product. So great news for you guys with Stages products. I know from previous videos that you're looking for support. These things don't last forever, and just you need a part or two to keep these things going. It's a good product. Power meter on a crank arm. Wolft Tooth Components is crushing it. They have 10 engineers with 87 full-time or part-time employees made in Minneapolis, and they are growing, made in America, and they are moving on. 30,000 square foot facility that it owns. Okay, so well capitalized, they don't owe a lot of money, and 80% of their products are manufactured here. And then whatever they get from China, they assemble here, employing people. So doing well. Wolft Tooth Components. My buddy, they said they used to sell little parts here and there at MTBR just to get it going, and then they quit their day jobs. And I just talked to Dan Dittmer at Sea Otter, and he sent me 2 pedals, some of the best pedals I've ever used. So stay tuned for a video on that. One is concave and one is convex. And oh man, great pedals. They do have dropper posts. They do have everything. I think they have like something like 2,000 SKUs, 2,000 products. So success story in the middle of all this quagmire of failures. Alta Cycing Group downsizes dramatically as Regent, their parent company, waits out the downturn. So a lot of people are hunkering down as they downsize and they see if they don't want to kill the brand. So what is Alta? Alta is the parent of Redline, Bikes, BMX, Diamondback, ISIP, and they've scaled back. I know they've lost some of these people that are industry icons. They've moved on to other brands. So they're kind of in hiatus, hibernation. A piece of bad news, but not completely unexpected. Frame building pioneer and visionary Bob Parlee dies at age 70. Parlee, I've interviewed before in my MTBR role on the Handmade Bicycle show twice or 3 times, and I was always fascinated. One of the legends of carbon fiber. What makes your brand so special?
I've worked in the high-end boat building, building Olympic-class racing sailboats, and in that it was all about performance and building exceptionally, high, race boats that performed exceptionally well. And then I built traditional wooden sailboats for 16 years, where it was less about the performance and more about the details. My love is building things and making sure it stays to that level.
So Bob Parlee, rest in peace, succumbed to a 4-year battle with cancer, and we will remember the brand and the product state that he made. Okay, on to some product news. I'm seeing a couple new bikes with TQ motors available. One is the Canyon Spectral On Fly for $59.99. TQ motor is that little motor like that. I have it on my Fuel EXE. And then the Slash Plus has put this motor in their e-bike downhill bike. Interesting to me because I can't stand that motor. It's so weak and it's such a battery hog. So it eats up a lot of battery. At the end of the day, I'm like, man, I could have done these rides with my analog bike. Okay, another piece of news is DJI motor is now getting in the hands of the YouTubers, and of course they're raving about it. It's a great motor. I put a video here. One of my hottest videos is I just analyzed it, 5 good things and 2 not good things about the DJI motor. What these YouTubers are saying is it is what it claims to be. I think there's only a few bikes in existence, and they're they got them in the Eurobike trade show, and they're giving it to the European editors, just a couple, and they're saying, wow, really good motor. But we can't get it. They can't get it in Europe. We can't get it here in the U.S. They're gonna get it there in a year, and I think we'll get it here in a couple years. So don't be waiting for it. But I hope it's a wake-up call to the rest of the manufacturers to get their act together. I think it's gonna kill lightweight e-bikes because lightweight e-bikes is just not really a thing. Most of the weight savings on an e-bike is on the battery. You only save like 2 pounds on the motor. It's all on the battery. So just have a normal motor with a light battery. That's your lightweight e-bike right there. And that way you still have the options of doing big rides, full powered rides. And that's what Orbea is doing. The Orbea Rise, I think the most successful lightweight e-bike there is, just did that. They just use an EP8 with a little battery. But now, and they put a restriction plate on the motor. But now on the new Orbea Rise, they let it go full power if you wanted to. So they give you options, but they make it light as well if you want, with battery configurations. So interesting note is I was hanging out with Chris Cocalis of Pivot Cycles, and he said, I asked him about the motor, and he goes, no, that was a surprise to me. He says, I never saw it before the consumer saw it. So that tells you that they can't even build it yet because they don't have bikes ready. They didn't see it beforehand. And they kind of knew who Chris Cocalis was. He sent a guy to China to visit the factory, and they sent him home with a motor. So he's got a motor already, didn't have a battery, but now he can start looking at it, see if he should build a bike around it, all that jazz. So meaning the development cycle has just started for U.S. companies and European companies. The only people who saw the motor is Ampflo, and Ampflo is DJI's company. So it's going to be a long production cycle before we see DJI motor bikes, but it looks to be a good one. The demand for bikes is still soft. Demand is soft because households are holding back on discretionary purchases. We are just not comfortable. You guys are with the whole economy, with the supply chain, play money, basically, and people are tight with play money. So because of that, 63% of IBD's independent bike dealers are down 15% or more in 2024 compared to 2023. So tough times. Hopefully we'll recover, but there's going to be a lot more IBDs online that are going to go out of business, manufacturers as well. So hopefully you guys can survive the storm, industry people. What I hear is there's going to be a lot of new bikes released in the fall winter of 2024, getting ready for the 2025 season. You notice there wasn't a bunch of bike releases in 2024. You know why? That's because all the old stock was clogging up if you have like 10,000 bikes of the old bike in the dealers and in the warehouse, why are you going to release the new one? And the new one will devalue these old stocks. So everyone's been trying to clear out their old stock so they can release the new ones. But the new ones have been ready. So there's going to be a bunch of these new ones coming out in the winter. And so stay tuned to the channel. Should be a fairly exciting new release calendar that's coming up in the next few months. Thanks a ton, everybody.